Welcome to Shoguns and Shrines. On this channel, I introduce Japanese history, culture, and beautiful places in English. I'm Japanese and I share Japan from my own perspective. Today, I'll explain the Battle of the Sea of Japan, a turning point in the Russo-Japanese War. I'll keep it clear and easy to understand. Please enjoy the video until the end. In May 1905, a major naval battle happened in the Sea of Japan. It is known as the Battle of Tsushima. It was the decisive battle of the Russo-Japanese War. Today, we will focus on tactics and how the battle unfolded. The war began in 1904 with fighting on land and at the sea. Russia struggled in the Far East during the war. To change the situation, Russia sent a fleet from the Baltic Sea. This was the Baltic Fleet sailing toward East Asia. It was one of the longest fleet voyages in history. They faced supply limits, repairs, and rules of neutral countries. Japan's combined fleet prepared for a final fleet battle. Japan could predict where the Russian fleet might pass. If Russia aimed for Vladivostok, there were a few main routes. The Tsushima Strait was the most likely route because it was practical and shorter. Japan spread scouts and patrols to find the enemy first. In naval warfare, finding the enemy first is a huge advantage. In 1905, there was no radar and no satellites. They relied on lookouts, signals, and smart positioning. When the Russian fleet approached the Tsushima Strait, Japan moved to intercept. From this moment, speed and formation mattered more than ever. A key tactic was the T-crossing, and also called crossing the T. It means your fleet crosses in front of the enemy's line. The enemy is in a long line moving forward, like the stem of a T. Your fleet becomes the top bar of the T. Why is this strong? Because the fleet on the top of bar can use many main guns at once, but the fleet in the long line can often use only its forward guns. So one side can bring more firepower at the same time. T-crossing also helps you focus fire on the enemy's leading ships. If the lead ship shows down, the ships behind it can get crowded and confused. That makes the whole formation easier to break. When the battle began, smoke quickly reduced visibility. In that case, accuracy and control were crucial. Battleships fired from moving decks with waves and wind shaking everything. Gunners had to judge distance, watch the splashes, and correct the aim. Japan had training and recent combat experience from earlier battles. Japan also used concentrated fire, targeting the same ships again and again. This was meant to damage the enemy's formation, not just one ship. In fleet battles, one problem can spread quickly through the whole line. If the front slows, the ships behind must turn and avoid collisions. Turning breaks spacing, and it can block guns and signals. So the goal was not only to win one moment, but to keep the enemy disorganized. By the end, the Russian fleet suffered devastating losses. Only a limited number of ships reached Vladivostok. The world reacted strongly to the scale of the victory and defeat. Many observers learned the modern naval battles depend on information, speed, formation, and fire control. At the same time, we should not reduce history to simple stereotypes. Battle outcomes are shaped by training, technology, leadership, logistics, and chance. That is why studying tactics can be meaningful and educational. In this video, we follow the battle's flow and explained T-crossing. Thank you for watching. This video is for educational purposes and it made with respect for those who served on both sides. It is not intended to glorify or insult any nation or group. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and leave the like. See you in the next video.